What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. I haven't done a makeup tutorial in a minute, so I'm excited to jump right in. So we're gonna start with the eyes. I'm just prepping my eyelids with some Shawnee Cosmetics eye and lip primer, and then I'm jumping straight to the brows, and I'm using an eyebrow gel for this. It's from Pretty Vulgar. It's called Rising Arc, and I'm also using their brush. Although for the rest of the video, I am gonna be using new brushes from the company called MOTD. They sent me over their Luxe Vegan makeup brush set to try out, so that's what I'm doing in this video, and so far I can say that I really like them. The names on the brushes are so cute, and I love the rose gold accent on the handles, which I'm showing here. This one is called No Fudge, Just Smudge, but it's really a great concealer brush, great for cleaning up the brows, which I'm doing with a little bit of Tarte Shape Tape, and then that's the other one done. And then I'm going to be lining my eyes with a little bit of Scotch tape just to get that nice clean edge, and then I'm going to be dipping into the Early Bird palette by Pretty Vulgar, and I'm taking the shade called Rise, which is just a classic transition shade, a tan color, and I'm going to be buffing that into the crease, and that hair was getting on my last nerve, so I had to fix it. And yes, don't judge my roots in this video. I know they're pretty bad, but everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days. So then I'm going to move on to tight lining, and I'm using the Balm Mr. Right, and I'm also going to take down on the outer corner and begin the base of my smudged out liner. But I did find a little bit of difficulty in smudging this particular liner, so maybe use something a little bit more creamy. This would be great for staying put into the waterline, but not so much for smudging out on the lash line, if that makes any sense. So I'm just using the Pencil Me In pencil brush and trying my best to smudge that out. You don't want to go too heavy with it. Here I'm just taking it from the actual pencil and going with the brush and just trying to work my way up, but you do want to keep it relatively close to the tape and your lash line because you do want to maintain the actual shape of the cat eye liner, if that makes sense. I don't know. So now I'm just going back into the palette. I'm taking Nest Egg, and on a little, what is this brush? This is the eye-catching crease brush, and I'm basically going right over that liner and just creating even more of a transition. So this is going to help keep it more of an ombre look and not just be black to nothing. It's going to be like black to light brown to then fading into that earlier transition shade that we put down. And it's okay if the liner got a little bit dull and less black because we are going to layer each color to bring back the intensity. So again, taking that pencil brush, this time with a little bit of the shade called Victory, which is a slightly darker brown than Nest Egg, and I'm going to be kind of bridging the gap between Nest Egg and the liner. I am going to go over it just to kind of deepen it, but I want to basically blend these two shades together so that the edges are nice and seamless, and then I am going to take a blending brush and just go over that just to make sure. Smoked out liners are pretty tricky because you want the shape to be defined enough that people know that it's a wing and it gives the effect of a wing, but you want the edges to be super buffed out and seamless, and that is kind of hard to do without bringing it up too high while you're blending it. So you have to use a little tiny brush like a pencil brush so you can make small little movements and make sure your blending doesn't go too crazy. But now I'm just going to a different palette. This is the Smashbox Punked Eye palette, and I'm taking the shade called Combat Boots, which is not a super opaque black. It's more of like a grayish black, and that's what I want. And I'm just going to again go over the edges, just repeating each step and adding more depth to the liner, and I'm just going to keep going back and fixing any mistakes and making sure the edges are nice and blended. So again, it's a lot of repeated blending steps, but I'm just taking the fluffy brush with a little bit of Nest Egg on it, and I'm making sure that the smoked out liner is blended not only on the outer corner where the wing is, but also on the lid as it goes down towards the inner corner. But I do want to leave the very inner corner bare because I'm going to put the color called Tweet over the lid, and I'm just going to kind of blend that over to the liner because adding a lighter shade to the lid, even though it's subtle, will still add more dimension to the overall look. And then I'm gonna go again back to the Combat Boot shade and go over the liner just to touch up and make sure it's as dark as I'd want it. So here we have the finished product, an elegant, timeless, classic smoky liner. But now we're going to move on to the face. I'm going to prep my skin with the Smashbox Primer Water. I believe this was the collaboration with Nicole Concilio. It smells so good, but that's going to hydrate and give my skin a nice base for some foundation. And I never wear stick foundation, but I was feeling it today, and I actually did like how it looked. So I'm going to be mixing two shades, and don't come for me about my shade mixture. I was just going for it. Oh yeah, but that's the Anastasia stick foundation, and I'm just going to be blending that together with my It Cosmetics Star foundation brush. I don't know what this is called exactly. I will leave everything linked down below in case you're curious and want to buy something. But yeah, pretty neat brush. I mean, there's really nothing that special about it besides the fact that it's shaped like a star, but it did the job. It gave me a nice finish, and the foundation worked really well as well. Silly human language. But it gave me a nice medium buildable coverage, and I was just more concerned with it trying to match my body or my face, or match something. Just match something on me. That was my goal, which, to my defense, I don't think I did that horrible. But I am just going to take a small concealer brush and go straight from the stick and get around my eyebrows and all the places that were a little bit too hard to reach for that big ol' star brush. And no, my foundation did not match my hands, but if we're being real, I don't think they ever have. So we're just going to move on to concealer, and this is the Makeup Revolution concealer, and it was a little bit too dark, so I went ahead and added on some Tarte Shape Tape and a little bit of a lighter shade and just beauty blended that away. Actually, correction, that is not the Beauty Blender, that is Tarte's Beauty Sponge, which I love just as much as the original Beauty Blender, so I don't know which one is cheaper. I guess somebody leave it in the comments. Just kidding, I could probably look it up, but I do apologize about that, but we are still doing our concealer. Okay, yep, still concealer. So just go ahead and highlight your areas that you want to be highlighted, like the chin, the cupid's bow, maybe a little bit around the nose if you got some redness. I know I do. I like the tip of my nose to be a little bit lighter, and the center of my forehead. So once your concealer is on, you are going to bake your face. Actually, you don't have to bake. I'm not even gonna bake. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. So I'm just going to apply that powder. This is the Flower translucent setting powder. I really do like it, but it doesn't brighten as much as the RCMA powder, which is my all-time favorite, But I'm just going to be setting the places that I put the concealer with this powder. It does a really great job at mattifying, so if you're really oily, I feel like this would be great. And the brush I'm using to apply that is from MOTD. It's called the Mr. Handyman, and it's a lot smaller for a powder brush than I would normally use, but I feel like it worked really well at setting the under eyes and setting all those places that I use the concealer, and I think this would also be a great brush for blending out your concealer as well. Now switching over to the Set and Go powder brush, I'm going to be setting the rest of my face with the Balm's Photo Balm powder, just to make sure that my foundation isn't tacky for when I go in with bronzer. I don't want it to be splotchy or anything like that. And for bronzer, I'm using the Too Faced Dark Chocolate Soleil bronzer, which smells amazing. I'm sure everybody knows that by now. And I'm using that on the Get Cheeky With It brush, and I'm just applying that to my cheekbones, the hollows, the temples of the forehead, just everywhere where I want to be bronzed to perfection and just warming up my complexion. You know the drill. And in case you guys were just curious, I was wearing the Loving Tan 2-Hour Deluxe Dark Mousse in this video, so that's why I was a little bit tanner than usual. So I got to go heavy with the bronzer because normally my pale ass doesn't get to use any. Otherwise, I look like a Dorito. So moving on, I'm just going to take whatever was left on my sponge and carving out my cheekbones just to make them a little bit more defined. And then to make them even more defined, I'm going in with a contour shade. This is by NYX. It's called Taupe. This is actually labeled as a blush, which I don't know what the heck they were thinking when they called this a blush, because it's literally like a dark gray color, and you only need the slightest amount of this to work, so just be very careful with this, but it is a great contour shade, especially if you are fair-skinned. So now we're going to move on to highlighter. This is Sleek Cosmetics Strobe Dome. What a name. Sounds kind of sexual. But this is in the shade Pink, and I just applied that on my Beauty Blender or Tarte sponge, whatever, and I applied that to my cheekbones. I think you could have got a little bit more color payoff if you had used your fingers and worked it in, but either way, this was a beautiful highlight, super natural looking, really skin-like, and yeah, I loved it. So now we're going to finish up the eyes. I'm taking a little bit of Nest Egg again on the Blending Bestie brush, and I'm just buffing that on the outer half of the eye, and then I'm taking this brush called Just Browsing, which is a short flat brush, and it's great for hugging the waterline, and I'm just taking the shade Victory, which is that darker, more chocolate brown that we used in the crease, and then taking the blending brush and buffing it out so it's nice and smoky. Then once again, mimicking what we did on top, I'm taking that pencil brush with a little bit of that leftover Combat Boots shade and just deepening up that outer corner. And then I'm going to be taking the shade called Wink, and I'm applying that to the inner corner and to the brow bone to add a little bit of highlight. Then I went ahead and popped on my lashes, which I think completely made the look, and these are called Sexy AF by Socialize. And then I'm gonna add some Caution mascara from Hourglass. And then I'm taking Sleek Makeup Life Proof Blackmail Liner, and I'm going to line the waterline, only going halfway. And I wish I had used this liner on top because it was much more creamier and easier to smudge out, as I'm doing here with this little brush. And that's pretty much it for the eyes. So I'm just coating the bottom lashes with some mascara. And finishing off this look with the lips, I'm going to be lining them with a Colourpop Lippie pencil in the shade Contempo, which is like a nudie pink shade. And then I'm going to be topping that off with a Too Faced lipstick in the shade Sunday Funday, which, yes, had a very pleasant smell, but it's just a really creamy nude lipstick. And I kind of wish I had showed you guys what this look would have looked like with a red lip, just because it's the holidays and it would have been so festive and cute, but I do like the classic nude as well. And just a moment of silence for the packaging on that Pretty Vulgar setting spray. That is the Lock It In, and it is so cute, smells really good, and yeah, just going to set my makeup in place with that, and the look is finished. I really hope you guys enjoyed this makeup tutorial, and until next time, I will talk to you babies later. Bye. Mwah.
I'm just a selfish ghost.